up, everybody? CJ Thomas, St. Louis Fitness Boot Camp, and there's a lot of myths out there when it comes to fitness, and I heard one recently that I'd like to try and clear up for you today if I could. So this is a myth about sit-ups and how they make the core bigger and actually solidify fat around the core. So the myth, as it goes, if you do a lot of sit-ups, it's just going to make your core bigger and it's going to solidify the fat around your core. Guys, it's just not true, okay? So we can talk about sit-up form in a second, but first and foremost, if we're talking about making your six-pack appear and making shredded abs and that kind of stuff, I'll tell you first and foremost, nutrition every time. You have to get your body fat down to a certain percentage in order to see your abs. That's just part one right there, okay? So if the nutrition's not on point, if you're not eating right, your chances of seeing your abs, very slim. If the body fat percentage is high, you're not gonna see your abs, okay? So once we get that portion taken care of, now we want to strengthen the abs. We want them to pop. We want them to look strong. We want them to look, shredded, right? So here's the thing with the sit-up. The sit-up is actually a great move if you do it the right way. So what I'm going to do here on the floor is, here's sit-up. I'm going to come up and I'm going to reach up and come flatten out the back at the top and slow, slow, slow on the way down. Now what I'm thinking about, the primary thing I'm thinking about is core inward. I'm pressing my core down, 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 and creating suction right here. I'll get a little further away so you can see as I come up right here, come to the top, I'm coming down, and even as I come down, especially as I come down, I'm squeezed inward. I'm trying to create less and less of a stomach right there. I'm trying to pull that inward right there. So a lot of people, when they're doing sit-ups, why it would press out is because they're pushing their stomach out to do a sit-up. So they're puffed up in the core, up, and they're pressing out instead of pulling inward right here. So this is the key. You guys who go to class, you'll hear me say this all the time. Pull your core inward, okay? So you can see a difference. I'll try and get my arms out of the way right here. If I press out and I pull inward, pressing out and pulling inward right here. Right here, I'm trying to create suction in the stomach. I want to create it and smaller. It's kind of like if you thought about going to the beach and the first time you step out in your swimsuit, you want to look good, so you kind of do that thing where you suck in right there. That's the same thing you're doing, basically. You're sucked in and kind of pressing downward, kind of squeezing into the hips. This is the way that the core will support you in other exercises besides just the sit-up. So the sit-up, not a bad move at all, as long as we're using the core pushing inward, pulling inward rather, okay? So belly button in, lower core, everything in that lower section, we want it sucked in versus pressed out. Sucked in versus pressed out. Suck, press, suck, press. We want it to suck when we're doing sit-ups, okay? If you're not sucking, you're not getting the most out of that sit-up, you're not getting the most out of that move. Applies to every core exercise we do, applies to non-core exercises. So you could technically say that every day is core day, even on your upper body day, even on your lower body day. When you're doing a squat, the core should be pulled inward, okay? So inward core, if I'm thinking about a squat right here, I'm coming down and I'm sucked in right here. A lot of weightlifters will use weight belts around the core, and this is a mistake. So coming here, and then they press it out, and they come up. So they're keeping that belt there, and it actually trains them. When you're using a weight belt, instead of pulling in more, you're thinking about pressing out against the belt, and you're trying to get the belt to do the work that the abs should be doing. So you can kind of think of the abs as kind of like a corset, the transverse abs underneath the rectus abdominis here. So the rectus, that's your six-pack muscles that you see right here, eight-pack if you got those little lines going down. But the transverse comes underneath of that, and that's your corset muscle. So it's like a thinner muscle that wraps around right here and it sucks in. Think of a corset. The ladies back in the olden days, I don't know what century it was that they wore corsets, okay? I'm not a history major, I'm into fitness and health. So you pull in, suction in, and it's the same thing with the squat, whether you're doing a squat, whether you're doing a row, pulling up, whether you're doing a bench press, you're pulled in and you're pressing out. I cannot think of a time when you want to press your belly out right here, okay? That is not how we train abs. And if you do that, that might give you a more rounded shape. Even if you had a lower body fat percentage, you might still have this protruding action right here. You might have this gut that sticks out. So even if you're down and you've got the abs showing, you're thinking, why am I still kind of puffy in here? Well, it's either because you've got visceral fat underneath that's in the organs, or because you've been pushing out on all these moves. You've been pushing out on squats. You've been pushing out while you're doing your sit-ups, while you're doing your crunches, while you're doing all those core moves, when you should have been tucked in, suck it in, suck it in. That's what we want, all right? That's the appearance you're going for anyway. Train the body the way you want it to look, all right? In biceps, we're trying to make them bigger. We squeeze them out right here. In the abs, pretty much every muscle we're trying to make bigger. When you think of chest, trying to get bigger. We're thinking about lats, we're trying to get bigger. Not necessarily bigger for the ladies, but stronger. So you're squeezing that muscle, but instead of big contractions, when you're contracting the abs, it's the one time when you're gonna pull inward, suck, 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 suck. So, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Hopefully that video helps a little bit. It gives you something to concentrate on core day and on every day. So you will hear me. I know I sound like a broken record all the time at the gym. Suck the core in, suck the core in, suck the core in. It's because I need reminders. I'm assuming you need reminders. Maybe you're sick of hearing me talk about it, but if you go to the classes, if you don't go to the classes, if you're going to other classes or work out somewhere else, keep this in mind, all right? You want the core inward. That's how you get those abs that you want. That's how you get, more importantly, the function that you want out of the core, which is stabilization of lower back, of the torso, of everything. It connects everything in right here. So that's why core is so important. It's why I emphasize it so much. So thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you again soon.